Hi everyone, welcome to Pitchside yet again. Welcome to another edition. As you all know, Pitchside is in Morocco covering the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations, the 2025 edition, which is also the 35th edition in the competition's history. As we all know now, the competition is at the round of 16 stage, just about heading into the quarterfinals, where big games I expected, mouth-watering ties I should say, and I felt that I should catch up with a colleague who is well versed on the African continent and who you all know on the socials across the continent, well versed with African football, for us to catch up and talk about a few things here and there. There's lots of things happening in Morocco as the Africa Cup of Nations continues on and off the pitch. So it's my pleasure to introduce and invite my colleague from South Africa, Lorenz Kholer, who joins me on set today for the very first time. Kholer, sawubona.
It's nice to see you. I was speaking about you before I even arrived in Morocco.
Yeah.
Because I was so happy to see that you've arrived. Because since we met in 2019 in Egypt, we've always spoken about, we spoke about Cameroon.
Yeah.
I didn't go because last minute we didn't qualify.
Yeah.
And then also Cote d'Ivoire, you were like, I'm definitely coming.
I did come.
I didn't see you.
Yeah.
I didn't see you. And then we are now together, so I'm super happy, and I'm also very proud to see what you have accomplished with Pitchside.
Thank you so much.
I remember in the beginning stages what it was, and you were learning on the go, and it's amazing to see how much you've improved your craft, and it's getting there. It's getting to a level where you're gonna be one of the best in the business, you know what I mean? So keep doing what you're doing, and I'm sure you're inspiring a lot of young journalists, not just in Uganda but beyond. But to the business. Last 8. I think it's the top 8 in Africa right now. 5 previous winners in the last 10 years in the top 8 as well. So I think you can call this the creme de la creme of AFCON. And Hugo Broos, before our head coach of South Africa, before the tournament started, he did say this is a different AFCON. There's not going to be much of those surprises we had in Cote d'Ivoire, where you had the Giants not, losing to so-called minnows and some people falling out. He felt that, this is a stage where they're not going to make the same mistakes again. Yeah. And then also, in my opinion, I think the weather, which is winter, suits some of these European-based players because they're used to playing in this type of conditions rather than when they're coming from these conditions and then coming into Africa where it's blistering heat and they suffer. So there's many things that I've noted from the tournament as a whole going into the quarterfinals. But I do think it's going to be super exciting because it's the best of the best.
Okay, I think you sort of peeped into my script with that last answer. Kholer, maybe just to, break it down a little bit further.
Yeah.
Your experience covering this AFCON, being in 9 stadiums in 6 cities.
Yeah.
You may have not been to all the stadiums, but how has it been? What's your perspective of the whole thing and Morocco's organization at the AFCON?
Yeah, look, I had the privilege of visiting the stadiums except Fez before I arrived here. I arrived belatedly, and the first game I watched was Cameroon versus Gabon. In Agadir, because we were doing a road trip through 7 different countries. So, but I did see the Marrakesh Stadium beforehand, Agadir, Tangier, Prince Moulay Abdallah. Yeah. Look, I think it's super impressive because some of these stadiums that have been accredited and hosted these games with aplomb will be demolished.
Yeah, like the one in Fez, I've heard it's going to be demolished and set up for a fantastic venue.
If I'm not mistaken, the one in Marrakesh is going to be, and in Agadir is also going to be improved, and the capacity is going to be lifted for the World Cup in 2030. But from what we saw, look, it shows Africa that you don't necessarily need the 100,000 seater stadium. You can have a 15 to 18,000 seater stadium, 20,000 seater stadium, and host AFCON. Just as long as it meets the demands, as long as you have a media center, as long as you have a mix zone, as long as everything is in order, you are able to do it, and they don't need to be over elaborate.
Yeah.
With it doesn't need to look like a Qatari masterpiece. So you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But the standards are very high, because if you look at the stadium like Al Madina that we were in for Cameroon, South Africa, tiny, very cozy. It was super small in the media tribune,
super small.
but I liked it. It's a beautiful stadium, beautiful atmosphere, and I think it's a good example of what African nations should do. I think the total cost was about 60 million euros. So obviously it's not a small amount of money, but I just think it's a good example for many African nations to follow, especially those who don't have one accredited stadium to host their games and have been playing in South Africa or here in Morocco or ever in the world.
Yeah, so you mentioned the Al Barid Stadium. Then there is the Al Hassan Stadium as well, where Algeria played. Equally a small one, but beautiful, in a very, very good setup and all, which, summarizes your point, as long as you have facilities. And then the issue of the food, the people of Morocco, the transport, how would you sum it up as Lorenz with your experience?
Look, I think Morocco has been very, the hospitality has been amazing. In terms of the food and stuff, I can't really complain. Look, it's not quite South African or West African cuisine, but look, they have their specialties, and I think it's just for you to
choose
to twist what you like and what you don't like anything in life. Some people will come to South Africa, the things that I love they might not like because it's not what they're used to. I just add a little bit more spices and things, and it's to my liking. But yeah, I think the only, I would say, downside has been the weather. It hasn't been the greatest, but I think this week I checked the weather app. Looks like there'll be some sun for the remainder of this week and potentially beyond. We can see outside here.
It's shining.
Yeah, no sign of rain today, so that's a good thing, and I hope it continues for the rest of the tournament, because then we'll probably see a much more lifted atmosphere with the fans not freezing and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that was my only downside: the cold weather in the evening games.
Yeah. I agree with you, Lorenz. The weather got really got me in a mix right there, in a chokehold, if I could say. It was extremely cold, but we're here. We've managed to survive. So on the pitch, the knockout stages are done. Round of 16 ties are also getting done. I want to get to the quarterfinal ties, but before we do that, there are a couple of talking points from the round of 16 and the group stages. There are a couple of players you felt, or teams you felt, did not show up. Others showed up. I don't want to talk about my beloved Uganda. But what's your take home from a group stage that was spread across Morocco, and a couple of players we expected to show up, showing up, for Ivory Coast, for Egypt, for Algeria, for Nigeria. How would you sum that up?
I think the entire AFCON, the only surprise has been Gabon. Mozambique, getting one over them and reaching the last 16 for the first time in the history. They punched above their weight, the Mambas. Obviously, they got hammered by Nigeria in Fez. But yeah, I think overall, every team did exactly what was expected of them. From a South African perspective, you could say they were unlucky not to beat Cameroon. But Cameroon are big boys. They deserve to be where they are. They played well. They took their chances, and that's what it's about. From Congo's perspective, many people saw that as a 50-50, but I just think that Congo is in the same WhatsApp group as South Africa at the moment. They're doing well at the moment, but they're not at the level of Algeria and Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire at the moment. Look at Cote d'Ivoire, they just brushed aside Burkina Faso yesterday, and at one point, they started with two 19-year-olds. Diomande looks like he's probably going to be a 100 million euro player soon. Inai or something like that. He plays for Trabzonspor. He was running the show as this creative spark, keeping Seko Fofana on the bench. And then Bazumana, I think Traore, comes off the bench, scores his second goal. Another 19-year-old. He's just come from Hammarby. He was at ASIC Mimosas, went to Hammarby for 400,000 euros. Goes for 10 million euros to Hoffenheim.
Yeah.
So it shows like the scary potential of the big boys, you know. We haven't even spoken of Egypt. You know, despite not having, you know, an entire team with, you know, Salah, Marmoush, pedigree, which are world-class players, they're always there and about because they know this tournament. They're the Real Madrid of this tournament. Like they go into every AFCON thinking that they need to win it. Then we get to Morocco. It's a tough one there with them as well because great team on paper, but under enormous pressure. I think that stat of, I think it was only their 5th knockout victory in AFCON history against Tanzania. And you could sense like the anxiety and the pressure on this team, the fans, the players, the coaches being booed. And like, we were in that press conference with Regragui.
Yeah.
And the press conference was just finished. And he knew I need to say something like beyond this press conference. And he said something very important, which I felt is a necessity. He said, guys, we all want to win the AFCON. We all know what's at stake here. Just support.
Just relax.
Just support. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like back the players because they were booing him. And if you boo the coach, it creates a negative sort of atmosphere no matter what happens. So, yeah, I think with Morocco, the pressure is definitely there. Will they buckle under that pressure? So Cameroon will be a big test.
Yeah.
And I think if they overcome that test, they'll be strong favourites because I think it will give them that belief. Because no disrespect to Tanzania and the 3 teams that they played in the group, which was Comoros, Zambia, and Mali. Okay, Mali is a good team, but no disrespect to them. They're not Cameroon. They're not Senegal. They're not Algeria. Yeah. So yeah, I think it will give them that belief if they overcome that.
The Cameroon tie.
Yeah.
We're going to get to the other quarterfinal fixtures, but I think it's only fair for us to also break down Bafana. Came into the AFCON with a lot of expectations.
For sure.
That qualified for the World Cup for the first time in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
Also, the previous AFCON, they got everyone talking. Ronan Williams saving penalties, left, right, center. But here we are, last 16 guys. Bafana is out. What's Bafana's story at the AFCON from your angle?
I think it's on par, like quality.
Yeah.
Quality to look at the quarterfinal list. The top 8 in Africa for a reason. You know what I mean? So I think the quality of the team that we have is on par with where we finished. If they went to the quarterfinals, the semifinals like they did in the previous edition, it would have been great as well. But that's where you need a bit of luck, you know. If we had players that were ruthless, we would have won that game 3-0, easily.
Ruthless, you mean someone who finishes off the first time?
Exactly.
Like Mofokeng had that chance, and
Foster had a header, a header in the beginning. Mofokeng had the 1-on-1. Kabini had a chance as well. So I think we can't be disappointed.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can be in a sense of moving backwards.
Yeah.
Because the coach said we need to at least get to the semi-final or the final, or should be a failure. But they can't look at it from that perspective. I just think that the other teams just got better.
Yeah.
You know? In 2023, 3 of these guys that I just praised now of Cote d'Ivoire, they were in high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot can happen in over 2 years. And if you look at our squad, our star players at the tournament, or your Modaus, your Modibas, our centre-back pairing were phenomenal. Kekana and Mvala, they're both not there anymore. Ronwin was great. Tebogo was outstanding. We had Percy Tau, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Zakele Lepasa and Mahopa. But these guys haven't gone to the next level in terms of yes, they're still doing well respectively in the domestic leagues. But where's the challenge, you know? We can get into a debate of why they don't go
Abroad,
yeah. It's financial, it's maybe opportunities, maybe clubs outprice them. But it's what's needed to take them to the next level. And you can say the same for East Africa, for Uganda. Why is Okello not playing at the highest level? Why is Usama not playing at the highest level? You know, what's it going to take for Ugandan player to take that opportunity? Like many West Africans, where they go to a Sweden or a Norway and then to the English Premier League, to the Bundesliga. You ask yourself this question, and I think it's so many different factors, but we're still babies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We babies in this space.
In the space,
and it takes strong administration and intention from FAs in order to take us forward. Like, look at Morocco.
Yeah, well, like, oh my goodness, Morocco and their intentions. And I mean, you look at the squad. People
beyond
in France,
that, women, young age groups, facilities, the players they are able to attract. Do you think if Uganda had a young kid in Real Madrid's academy or Manchester City's academy, they could say, hey, come play for the Cranes? Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Exactly. And same
if
for Bafana.
Spain came calling, they would easily just switch to Spain.
The funny thing is about it, it's not even a matter of they come calling. We don't even have the respect to go call those people.
Yeah, yet they're there. Yeah.
You know, we don't have the respect to say, hey, come. They don't even attempt this. And it's a very frustrating thing from a South African perspective. We have some players that are showing potential at, like, goalkeeper at Manchester City, goalkeeper at Manchester United. We've got a young midfielder.
Divine Mukasa. There's Divine Mukasa at Manchester City, but he chose England over Uganda. So,
But do you think they ever approached him? Did they ever sell him a project? Did they ever say you can become a key figure of this national team? Yeah. Did they ever sell him a vision? No, they don't even bother. You know what I mean? Look, I don't know what they did, but I can bet they didn't. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, it's just the teams that are out let me focus on the teams that are in. I think they show more intent in terms
to build a team
to be successful.
Yeah. Hugo Bruce, after all this, what does the picture look like in South Africa? Because I saw a lot of love coming through. The team is back in SA. The sports minister Gayton Mackenzie was welcoming them. But what does it look like? Because the World Cup is coming up and South Africans are really excited about the World Cup.
They're super emotional right now because of the exit. Look, you can't really take Twitter opinions quite seriously because it's not a reflection of the whole, South Africa. Yeah. But there are some that are angry, some that are hurt, some that are like saying that Bruce failed with his squad selection, with his team selection. Look, you can't praise the guy saying he's the greatest coach coming into the greatest coach we've had coming into AFCON and then saying he's useless afterwards. That's not on.
It doesn't.
And you can't also look at his decisions and say he doesn't know what he's doing if he got so many results prior. But what a lot of people are waking up to is the fact that we didn't play these big boys. Yeah. When did we play these guys? Since the AFCON, did we play? We played Algeria, yes, through 3-3. But we were consistently playing smaller, lesser nations in friendlies and preparations, which was not ideal. But yeah, the general opinion is mixed. Some people are saying, this guy's given us hope and pride again. Yeah. Others are calling for
a
change already. Yeah. And then predominantly, South Africa is predominantly Kaizer Chiefs fans. So there's a lot of anger there. In terms of, saying, why don't we have Chiefs players in? But I don't buy that. I don't think there's many Chiefs players that can get in the 11 of Bafana right now. And I think it's a lazy criticism to say, oh, if we had Chiefs players. Even before the AFCON, somebody tweeted that Hugo Broos missed an opportunity to include a Chiefs player just to have full support of the country. I understood what the guy was saying, but I just found it
wasn't cutting it.
No, man, I just find it crazy that why do you have to
do something? Because
why do you have to have a certain club's player in? Like maybe the club should be doing better, you know. But yeah, it's gonna be an exciting 6 months because every single player in South Africa and abroad now will be looking to get into the squad.
Yeah, to the World
Because
Cup
there's an
squad.
opportunity now.
Yeah,
That
there
many
is.
players didn't cement their spot in the team. So I think the next 6 months could be very, very
Very
interesting.
pivotal. We've had a lot of, like you've mentioned, here on pitch side that, well, it's important that some of these South African players go abroad to get the experience and all. But in the same vein, South Africa has, in the last 2 or 3 years, produced quality young players through the Diski Challenge. And I thought I should ask you this question. When you look at the South African squad, predominantly locally based players, but also top young players, Mbokazi, who has gone to Chicago Fire, Rele, who is at Pirates, Moremi, I can go on and on, Vilakazi at Chiefs. Just how impactful has the Diski Challenge been for South African football? Would you sit here and say you're really excited with the young talent coming through?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's given them opportunity to play football. Now on TV, have that pressure of playing in front of people on television, playing against the best young players in the country. So it's a good level. And then also just like even below that, we have the Gauteng Development League, which is like elite, like Chiefs Pirate, Chiefs Sundowns, all the best academies playing in that. Also filters like they pick that for the DDC and stuff. Also got a couple of good academies like School of Excellence where Rele comes from and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's been a massive thing because you are able to identify players that are playing at a good level easier for the national team. It comes with its criticism because some people say, there's more than just Gauteng and the top to pick national team. But these are the guys that are playing at a good level, are ready mentally to take the step. And you saw with the under 20 World Cup, under 20 AFCON success, that these players, even with lack of resources and preparation, they are able to do amazing things. But yeah, it also comes as a frustration for me. It was having these debates like this morning on WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
Where a Tanzanian guy in the media was saying, Bruce is crazy, we don't need to send players abroad. We can win like Egypt won with locally based players. And we were like, that's part of the problem. It's like we develop these young kids like it's Mbokazi, Rele, Kotluano Letlaku, Magidi Gidi, who was in the under 20 World Cup. I'm sure you saw him.
I saw him, yeah.
And then the European clubs come with the offers, let's say 6 million rand, Magidi Gidi, for example, from Berishkot in Belgium. And then Siwelele says, no,
we're
not interested in 6 million.
Yeah.
But why don't we look at it from this perspective when you say, let him go, let him grow. You never know, in 2 years he'll be at Leverkusen. Christian Kofane, who scored against us, he's 19 years old and at Leverkusen, and he went to a team in Europe and then
connected to
Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Just an example. Why do we believe that the players we have there is the only players that can help us, and help us to do what? As a mid-table PSL club, why are you holding on to a 20-year-old?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't make sense.
Exactly. There's another player ready to come in. And the Diski Challenge is showing us it constantly that if a player leaves, another one can come in and do something. You know what I mean? And if we had that mentality, imagine selling 5 players for nominal fees with sell-on clauses, right? And then they make that second move like Bazumana from Hammarby for 400,000 and then 10 million euro the next season.
Yeah.
You're still going to earn from that. And by the time you get that 10 million, your next kid is already... The perfect examples is like the Independiente in Ecuador and clubs like Club Brugge. They're big teams in their own right, but they keep selling. They keep buying and selling. Sell, replace. Brighton. Sell, replace. And it's a good model. Gillois is also a team in the same group as Brighton. They do the same thing. So why can't we do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
I understand.
That's the frustrating part for me.
And on top of that, Hugo Bruce decides which player goes to which league. That's another discussion.
Yeah, he's been very, very vocal about
Yeah.
players going into leagues that can help them develop and not just
The money.
just for the sake of going somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there you go. So anyway, that's enough on Bafana. Bafana. Let's conclude with these are the ties in the quarterfinals of the AFCON that is coming up. Nigeria have their own problems of Victor Osimhen. They're taking on Algeria. But just before you sum that up, how do you think they've handled this very well? Because as per now, the communications indicate that everything has been buried and they are focused on the next fixture in the quarterfinals. Osimhen situation, will it affect Nigeria, or it's over with it and they can sail through?
I'm sure they'll rally each other up and say, guys, we in the quarterfinals of AFCON. We didn't qualify for the World Cup. Let's win this, make our people happy. Let's also make this generation a generation that can be remembered. Because I mean, the next World Cup is in 5 years. Did you see the ages of some of these players? Lookman will be
done.
They finished
They're
basically. So this is the opportunity to etch their names in the legacy of the Super Eagles, and I think they will do that. For example, Eric Schall, Lookman both kind of quashed it and said,
they handled it well, yeah.
Yeah, it's whatever. But now you need Osimhen to say something as well. There was also some unconfirmed reports of Aiko Adams leaving the camp, which was also quashed by the NFF. So the fact that they haven't put out a statement means I think it's handled. Yeah, it's handled. It's just a player that is passionate, emotional, but look, it divides the opinion of the fans. Some people say he's a crybaby and whatever, and some people say no, we want this.
Yeah.
As long as he's scoring goals, I don't think it should be an issue.
That's what really matters.
Like let's say, would you take a crybaby or emotional Osimhen in Uganda? Would you take him?
I would.
I'll take him.
I need the goals.
I'll take him any day. Come play for Bafana, my friend.
And throw all the tantrums you want.
100%.
I would take him. Algeria, Nigeria. You think Mahrez can carry the Desert Foxes all the way?
Not a one-man team.
Yeah.
Not a one-man team, but obviously he's sublime quality. Amura, what a player. Matza also showing some great potential there. He's been a welcomed addition to the squad. Boudaoui, Benassa is solid as ever.
Yeah.
Like it's just a very solid team that you can see going all the way.
And Zidane, the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's also been solid.
He's been solid, yeah.
Ben Sabaini, Mandi, Ait Nouri, the right back, I can't remember his name, Belgut or something from Hellas Verona. The guy that was at Paradu, now he scored the win against Congo. He's playing for Aldo Hill now. So they've got a lot of exciting players, and I think it's a squad that not many outside of North Africa are taking note of.
Yeah.
But they could quietly, do their thing. If it wasn't for my hair being my friend, I don't think I'd be paying too much mind about him. But I constantly read his stuff on Algeria, and it keeps me in the know of like how good and how serious they are about this competition, which they quietly won in 2019. Everybody was focusing on the Senegals and the Egypts and what have you, and they just kept going, and they won, I think, every single game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, to reach the final and win it. Egypt, you think they too can do something? Mohamed Salah and his Egypt taking on the defending champions Ivory Coast.
I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I think it's a step too far. I think the teams like Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire, they're too strong. You know what I mean? Yeah. Look, I mean, they could potentially. I think they're playing Cote d'Ivoire in the next round, if I'm not.
They are Egypt, Cote d'Ivoire.
That will be a big one. But I just think Cote d'Ivoire is going to have the edge over them. But with that being said, when this tournament started, I predicted that there'll be a lot of North Africans in the last four. So maybe this is where they separated, because right now there's five.
Spread.
There's five from West Africa.
Yeah.
Or no, 4 from West Africa. 3 from North Africa, and 1 from Central Africa, which is Cameroon. So the semi-final lineup should be very interesting.
Should be very interesting. There is the discussion of the MVP debate. You have Brahim Diaz, Morocco. You have Demola Lookman, who is at Nigeria doing well. You have Amad Diallo, who is doing well for Ivory Coast. And Mohamed Salah is popping his head here and there. Maybe Osimhen as well. Who do you tip to come out on top?
Let's just see the data.
I saw you talking good about Brahim Diaz on X, so maybe you're already taking aside.
Look, I mean, Lookman right now here is the clear front runner in his data in terms of he's got 7 goal contributions, which is 3 more than
anyone else.
Sadio Mane has also silently been doing the business as well, but I mean, it generally goes towards like who reaches the final for the very least. The last MVP was Trostekong.
Yeah.
Because
Nigeria.
He was massive in games of consequence. He scored a couple of important goals from the spot. I think against South Africa he scored a pen. In the final he scored a header. Yeah. So I think whoever reaches the final, it will be the standout player of that team. But look, I mean, it does look like those players you mentioned are the early front runners, and if their teams get to the final, you'll know what's gonna happen. I don't see any defenders or midfielders that's been, everybody's been like saying this is outstanding, but it's more of the attackers right now.
So anyways, stacked up list, but like Lorenz said, we'll wait to see which teams reach the final, and I'm pretty sure of all the names that I've talked about, one of those players is going to be in the final with their team. I don't know who that will be. But quick stop, and I appreciate Lorenz for coming through on Pitchside. Guys, if you're out there, and I'm sure you've seen Lorenz's content on TikTok, on Instagram, Facebook, X, top sports journalist on the continent from South Africa. And as sports journalists, I think it's just important that we support each other like he has just done. I will also, appear. I'm on 10th on the list on the people to appear on any of your content.
No, it's
15th
right now because I got a new phone, so Peter Tabo is frequently contacted on WhatsApp. By the way, I'm very disappointed we not discussed the future of Paul Put. Why are we not why am I not part of the Uganda Cranes discussion?
Let's get to that just briefly before we sign out. Uganda Cranes, at home, of course, people are not happy with how the team performed.
Yes.
But what's your whole perspective of the Uganda Cranes, and how would you sum up their performance with Paul Put as head coach?
Look, I think they like I said, they performed as expected. All the teams performed as expected. Uganda, look, they qualified great. Don't get a false dawn by getting into the last 16. Go back home and we need to work.
And work harder.
Let's work
and
harder.
Improve in every sense of the word.
Exactly. You can't have this false dawn. It's we're gonna host AFCON and let's go work harder, because I think of the World Cup campaign.
Yeah.
The AFCON campaign you were in South Africa's group, correct?
Yeah.
You guys could have easily won that group. Easily won that group.
Except for that defeat in Kampala from South Africa.
You guys threw it away because there was so much pressure on us going into that game. Yeah. And then the World Cup qualifiers, it's just like this. You guys are maybe 1 or 2 great players short of having a team like that is capable of qualifying for a World Cup like Cabo Verde. Not a great team either. Like, look on the names paper.
Curacao, guys.
You know what I mean?
For crying out loud, man.
So I think you're not that far away, but if I read social media, the expectations need to be tempered, definitely.
The expectations were up there.
So yeah, listen, we must collab this on YouTube, no? We're putting this on YouTube.
Yeah.
I want to collab.
Oh, please.
Yeah, my channel and his channel must collab this one, okay?
Yeah. All right, so guys, thank you so much. Lorenz, I appreciate.
Yeah.
The tournament is not done, so we shall have more collaborations with other journalists who are covering the AFCON 2025. But as like always, Please subscribe and keep it pitchside as always. Cheers.